Last game of the 2023 home and away season for the Hawks. We've got trade stuff. We've got draft stuff. We've got Box Hill. We've got the AFLW. It's almost too much, but I'm ready to go. Liam's ready to go. I'm going to introduce him in a second, but welcome all to the Talking Hawks live stream. It has been a genuine pleasure to bring you across the entire home and away season these live streams. But don't worry, just because the lads are going on holidays for a few months for a well-deserved break, given how well we played post-bye, we are just getting started here on Talking Hawks. Let me tell you, we are not going anywhere. And for that reason and that reason alone, you should be subscribed to Talking Hawks on YouTube. We have got plenty of stuff happening, plenty of stuff tonight. You're going to absolutely flood the channel with comments, whether that's on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, depending on where you're watching from. I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you, but we, of course, are Talking Hawks. We connect Hawthorn fans from all around the world, not just to each other, but to the club itself. This has been a very long-winded intro, so I'm going to shush now and introduce my man, the man who's absolutely come from the clouds. Joshy Weddle mightn't have got the Rising Star votes, but he has here at Talking Hawks. His name's Liam. He's a great man. How are you, mate?
I'm going well, Daz. The men may be done, but we're just getting started with another big season.
Absolutely, we are, and we've got one still continuing, of course, and we had a fantastic result in the wheelchair AFL as well. A massive congratulations to them on their magnificent season. I'm going to get to all your comments in just a second, guys, because I've got some finagling to do this evening. I know you'll forgive me, given how well you guys have been participating in the last few live streams. I'm looking forward to this one in a big, big way, mate. Now that we've gotten to the end, obviously not taking place in September, has the season felt too long to you at all? It's been a hot topic. We know Brad Scott made an excuse out of the red and black lot for fading away late in the year. We'd got some good momentum up. Are you glad the season's over? Has it felt like a long season? Sort of where are you at with the men at the moment, mate?
It has felt like a very long season, to be honest. Maybe that's just in no small part because in the first half it felt like every day was a week. Just, trawling through week after week, watching the team put up some performances that weren't exactly the best that it could do. But look, I don't mind it. I definitely don't think the men's season should be elongated. I do think the women's season should be elongated, but that's another story for another day, or actually later today. But I think it's a long season. Should it maybe be truncated a week or two? I can make an argument for that. I don't see. It's a long season. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, it definitely is a long season. I mean, 17's right there. Just makes sense. But anyway, maybe 18, give us all a buy or something. I don't know, 18 weeks for a 17-week season. But hey, we don't get paid for that good stuff. But we know the fans are going to get involved in a big, big way. But let's talk about the game, mate. It feels like so long ago now that we actually did have a game to talk about. The Hawks obviously going down to the Dockers. And, of course, you can find all of the stats and stuff. You can tell I haven't done an overlay here in a while, but there it is there, hopefully on the screen at the moment. There we go. Went a bit slowly for me, but Freo 14-9-93, Hawthorn 8-8-56. You can find your goal kickers, and Dylan Moore taking up the middle rung with both of those. 1 goal, 27 disposals from my man Dilzer. It was a pretty disappointing way to finish the season, mate. We loved what we'd seen for the last sort of 6 to 8 weeks, and I think to end on almost a whimper was the sign of a young team, but I was a little bit flat, actually. How did you feel about this as a whole?
Like the team didn't really care that much, to be honest. It was just, I said on the 6 points, it felt like, to be honest, that the players had, I don't think consciously, had some consciously just checked out a little bit. There was, let's just make sure we don't do an ACL or an Achilles, and let's just, by the way, get well soon, Chad Wingard. It's just, making sure that, get through unscathed, get on that plane to Europe. Like that's what it felt like seemed to be the headspace, even if that was not a conscious headspace.
Yeah, still, I mean, yeah, I wasn't thrilled, but I think it's because we thought Freo were on our level, and they decided to figure out how to play football way too late in the season. They were pretty poor against Port Adelaide, but they had that massive derby win not too long ago. They had another win at home that I don't really remember. But let's get into the Hawthorn fan comments, mate. We'll start with Brooke, always one of our favourites. How do we think Scrimmer went as a forward? I actually think, depressingly, the answer is good.
Yep, competent. Still think he's a defender. He's too important down back, especially to the way he and Sicily cross over and open up the whole field from defence. So he was serviceable. The service to him wasn't great, so it's perhaps hard to give him much of a grade other than competent. But I think he's too valuable to our slingshot out of defence, and is a good interceptor as well. And at 6'4", people don't realise how big he is.
Yeah, agreed. It was almost one of those cases where, and I think a lot of us have done this, maybe either a partner or a parent when we were younger asked us to do a chore, a job, and we do it just badly enough that they would never ask us to do it again. Now, Scrim's got too much integrity to go about that business, but let's be honest, we've all been there. Yeah, and Jacob's on board as well. Rather see Scrimmer in the back line. I'm totally with you. Shimmer better than Ryan and Cozzy on the weekend. Well, Fred, Brandon Ryan shouldn't have played. Liam, and I know you're big on this. You're massive on this even at the time, which Jambo agrees as well. And I'm with Fred here. He shouldn't have played. I get that we needed the size, but we were that small up forward when he was subbed out. They played Brennan Cox forward anyway. I don't really understand it that he played, but he did. And that's kind of how I feel about it. He showed up, had a handball, and that was about it.
Yeah. I said, again, another point I made on 6 points. Shouldn't have been picked. Like, this is a question. Is it his fault for not doing the job? Or with Sam Mitchell or the coach, whoever it was, knowing that he couldn't do the job, is it their fault for putting him there?
I think we can live in a world where it's both.
Yeah.
I think we can live in a world where it's both. That's the decision to play has not just been a one-person process. So
yeah, he shouldn't have played. Like point blank, you pick fit players. If you have a player who you know can't get through a full game, they don't play. You know, what if we had an injury in the first 5 minutes of the game and he had to play the full game and we're basically playing 17 on 18 for however long he's on the ground because he's not fit to play?
Yep, like, I'm with you.
Doesn't
I'm
make
with
sense.
you for sure.
With Lloyd Meek as the sub, as much as I love seeing as many ruckmen as possible out there at all times, Lloyd Meek is like, you don't have a 6'8" sub, unless you're Collingwood and you go with a 6'11" sub, but that's another question.
The preliminary final specialist himself. Now, just before you go, Matt, just before you continue, I should say, Hawks fans, we are going to get through the game first, and then we're going to get to the trade stuff. But I just want to interject here with Nick. Georgiades has just signed a 4-year deal at Port. He's staying at Port, so I just want to put that one to bed. But don't flood us yet with all the trade stuff. We will get there. We've got somewhat of a linear structure here at the moment, but Jacob's on top of it as well. He signed a 4-year deal. So back to the game, mate. And look, how much can you really break down a round 24 game for two teams that couldn't really move on the ladder until North Melbourne decided to learn how to play football for the first time in 5.5 months? It felt a bit ugh. Like I wish I had a better vocabulary to describe it, but yeah, I think the quicker we put this one in the bin and focus on 2024, the better.
It was two groups of people showing up to get their match payments and get on the plane to Europe.
Well, America, in the case of Dylan Moore, he, Will Day, and a few others, Dylan Moore on Triple M's The Rush Hour, was saying that they're going to go and watch a couple of NFL games. And let me talk, I wish I was on that trip. My goodness me. Riley, we will poop on Saturday. I agree. Not going to comment on the umpiring. It's round 24. It's been a long season for all of us. Or poor. That works as well, mate. But we'll go with it. Why not? We're going to talk about, Freo turned up. We didn't. I think that's pretty much the feeling that we get. Jambo here left us pretty flat for the end of the season. Couldn't agree more. We were, I mean, if it was round 18, that game, you just go, ugh, it's not, that's not us at our best, even close to it. But usually we could go, but next week against so-and-so, we can make up for it, but we can't do that. Do you think that limits us a little bit?
Not really. It was, again, it's a game I don't really want to read much into because it was no one for either team really. Yeah, Shane sums it up perfectly. No one really seemed to care that much. Again, it was a collect your match payments, don't get injured, let's get out of here. Both teams, the tackling was not, the tackle pressure wasn't exactly elite from either team. It was just kind of, let's just go through them. And the last 10 minutes as well, you could tell, teams doing everything they could just to keep the clock running so they could get off the ground quick, fast, and in a hurry.
It seemed that way. Well, we had our lowest tackle count, I think, since the Sydney game. If my numbers are right, someone will probably correct me. But I want to get to I want to get to an interesting question, mate, because now sometimes fans pop up with some questions that I know is going to stir up my co-host. I think of whoever it was last week when I was on with Mitch, who kept inquiring about Asava because I knew a Geelong player and a Hawthorn jumper was going to rile him up. I feel like this question is going to rile you up as well. Let's say now Travis Old's not doing the fixture, but I don't know who is. So you go to Travis Old's replacement, picks up the phone. Liam, this is Travis Old's replacement. You get to pick who Hawthorn play in round 1 next year. Right here, right now, on the spot. Who do we play next year? Round 1 next year. Now, of course, Geelong don't count because we'll play them on Easter Monday. Every other team's on the table. What kind of a challenge do you want to set for us in a new season?
I don't mind having a bit of tradition in round 1. I don't mind a bit of rivalry in round 1. Give me that lot who wear red and black.
The Bombers, I like it. It's and I want the fans comment. If you could pick who we play in round 1, don't say Geelong because it actually cannot happen. I'll tell you what I do love, mate, is no fan base, especially Victoria, especially Hawthorn, ever want to go into state for round 1. No, I reckon we've asked this question twice since I've been here, and no one ever picks an away game to so-and-so. It could be an away game to West Coast. No one writes it down, which I like, but Brooke goes early. The Pies. Oh, yep. All right.
Not bad.
Let's challenge ourselves against the best. I think last time we played them in round 1, we beat them in a very high-scoring game. Tom's gone Melbourne, which I like. Brooks getting some agreement. Costa wants an easy kill. First up, don't blame you. 1-0 start the year. We played North Melbourne. I think it was very early in 2021. I reckon that might have been Chad's debut game where he kicked a couple and the strut was back. It was Essendon this year. It was Essendon this year. Gold Coast, Nick says. Okay, interesting. Play Dimmer's boys first. See how they go. We need revenge against Essendon. Jacob Essendon. Yep. That red and black lot, as Liam calls them.
Riley, we need that in the AFLW as well this Saturday.
Absolutely, we do. We'll get to that a little bit later. Jay Brisbane, I hope you mean at Tassie or the MCG. I wouldn't want to go to the Gabba in round 1 and get that one out of the way. Brisbane haven't lost to the Gabba for a while, but an interesting little note there from the fans, I think. So I honestly reckon, mate, we could just about put this Freo game in the bin now. Is there anything else that you want to bring up before we move on to the silly stuff?
Where are the Garbos?
All right, fair enough. This is my favourite answer. I love the Essendon answers, but Jambo, I'm with you. The problem is I think Adelaide are going to finish top 4 next year. So that might be a problem facing a potential top 4 side. But anyway.
Got to face mixed up.
Yep, that's true. But, Tassie works. Nearly beat them there this year, so that's fine. Let's get to some of the silly stuff. I have to apologise because I have skipped past quite a few of your comments about it because we are trying to keep a bit of a linear structure here, mate. But let's start with Asava Radaglia with the report coming out. 7 years, 5 mil. Now, for those that might not be as mathematically inclined, that's about 714 grand a year on average for a guy who hasn't kicked more than 15 goals in a year, has never been a number 1 ruckman, and has been a third tall defender at times, Liam. Am I crazy, or is that way too much coin?
For a fringe player of a team who didn't make the finals, it's too much money.
Yeah, and look, I'm glad you said that because I am notoriously, as some people have called it, likes to squeeze a dollar. There's big dazzling. It is a life's lemon, but that seems like a lot considering that Ben Mackay might be getting around that same coin or a little bit more, and in my opinion, has shown to be a very good number 1 key defender who is genuinely sick and tired of playing at North, and who can blame him?
Well, he's had a lot of practice, so he'll be good to go. But yeah, and look, we do have to acknowledge that contracts right now are a bit different because at the end of next season, assuming the AFL and the PA actually get their acts together and get a CBA sorted, the television rights come in 2025. It's a not insignificant increase. I've heard that estimations the cap could jump anywhere from 10 to 15% literally overnight at the end of 2024. So for the men's comp. So a lot of contracts have what's called an indexation clause, where what that means is their annual value rises with the cap.
Yeah, which is what Darcy Parish argued with Essendon a little bit, and he's just re-signed on a 5-year deal, and I think Essendon might have relaxed that indexation clause. So,
yeah, that's what I'm tipping. He wanted 6 years with the indexation clause. I think he gave the 6th year to get the indexation clause, I would be guessing. I'm purely guessing. But, so if there's no indexation clause, then you have to consider that 714 to be more a 640, 650. Because that's what it will be after a year. Just in terms of modern equivalents, just to give people some perspective. I'm not saying I think he's worth that money, because I don't. I mean, a player is ultimately worth whatever someone's willing to pay for their labour, but that's industrial relations. I'm not getting into that topic here. But yeah, so that's I guess where I'm going with. And I feel that's next.
Chris brings up a really good point here. The whole do we need him? And the answer is yes and no, because positionally, yes, as in his position this year, a tall, athletic centre-half back. If that was the package, sign me up. But the fact that it's Asava and by I mean the fact is that he hasn't been a number one key defender. We don't think he will be because of Jimmy Blank. I understand that. But we can only judge a player by what they've done. And at the moment, I'm more worried about the 7 years than I am the money, in total honesty. I don't really give a damn what players are paid. Get as much money as you can while you can. No problem with that at all. But Liam, 7 years for a guy with the output that he's had so far, to me, is mind-blowing. And would I rather give it to Ben Mackay? Yes, I would, but they're as injury-prone as sort of each other at the moment, which is not great.
Yeah, there's a bit more risk in that Mackay deal because he'd be as a free agent. And under what's colloquially called the Lance Franklin rule, he would have to remain in the cap the whole time, no matter what happened to him. He could get hit by a bus. He could have anything could happen. Still has to remain in the cap for the full contract. Radigalia, the 7 years is at least a get out in that, you know, we have to pay his money, obviously, because he's contractually entitled to it, but it doesn't necessarily always have to remain in the cap the way a 7-year free agency contract does. So that is actually a distinction because Radigalia is not a free agent to the best of my knowledge.
No, he's not. No.
Yeah.
No way. And Brooke, the Ben Mackay is worth that type of contract. I agree with you, and I was trying to think of a scenario where a key defender left or had to start at a really bad club early on and just got better the more that he played in a team that was improving. And the player that I kept coming back to was Phil Davis. When he went to the Giants, they were a landmine of bad at the time. And as GWS got better, he got better because it is a hell of a lot easier to guard 55 to 60 inside 50s than the 88 and 93 that they conceded in back-to-back weeks at the end of his first year at the Giants, mate. So I'm more okay-ish with Ben Mackay. I struggle to wrap my head around 7 years, but we need the position, and luckily for Ben Mackay is that there are not a lot of key defenders available that have got the kind of AFL experience that he has, even though he's only played about the 70 games. Yeah.
I mean, Ben Mackay is a very good player. We need a brick wall. Mackay is the better option. Yeah, Mackay is definitely the better option. I mean, his win record doesn't look great because he's playing against a team that basically says, hey, Ben, you pretty much have to do all the work for 6 people in defense and go.
Yeah. Yep, I'm totally with you. Chris, boy, I wish this was true. Jared Pollock, Jasper Pittard, anyone for North? That was, yeah. Which, again, no shade to those boys. Man, if my workplace offered me 7 years for this kind of money, I would deal it in a heartbeat. This is not personal against the players. I'm pro player. Get that money. As far as I'm concerned, get as much of it as you can. I just don't know if the club that this mob should be paying that much. My goodness. Zerk Thatcher's coming up a lot. Mackay's a better option. I'm with you. Yeah, Zerk Thatcher, no, I'm a no as well. And that was before the Jesse Hogan game. Essendon had checked out at that point. I think he has as well. I think he's not happy at Bomberland either. So, you know, what is it? Yeah, not really. But, you know, what does it say about a player who's in that scenario? I mean, Essendon have been poor, but he wasn't there during the really poor bit. You know? Is there a bit of downhill skier mentality there? I hope not.
I hope not. Yeah. It'd be
And
interesting.
Fred, to answer this question, there's not really that many great ones available. That's the point. So if we want one now, we're going to have to overpay for one. That's unfortunately how the industry works. Let's move on. Tom, look, if someone can drive down to Rosebud, I'm actually pretty close. About 40 minutes from Rosebud. I might go see Mewey and just chuck him in the time machine. We could use him at the moment. My goodness, what a great, great player Chris Mew was. Let's move over to Freo, mate. Liam Henry, the report coming out today that Freo are wanting somewhere between pick 15 and 20. That range for Liam Henry, mid to late first round pick. We know these things. You know them better than anyone else that this is just the start of a negotiation. But considering the Hawks have got pick 3 and then I think pick 28 is the next one that we've got. It's we don't have what they need now. Might get it in the future, but we're also not giving up draft points for Will McCabe. So my question to you is, how confident are you that Liam Henry will be at the Hawks next year?
I think it's 50-50. I think at this point he's only asked to go to Victoria. There's simple maths. There's 10 clubs in Victoria. It's probably 3 or 4 who are interested in him. That'll drive the price up. The fact there's interest from multiple parties. If he says, I'm only going to sign a contract at Hawthorn, that obviously will then dilute that. But look, I think he's a good player. 28 is probably around the mark, slightly unders. In my view, it might be something like 28 and then a slight swap of thirds or something in Freo's favour or something like that, just to balance things out. But I'd be probably offering a future second and trying to get, I don't know, picking the 40s back for some extra points for McCabe.
Yeah. I'm tired. You've literally taken the words out of my mouth. If we could get something like, and I think Freo off the top of my head have got pick 40. Yeah, pick 40 at this point. If we can give them a future second for Henry and pick 40, use the 40 for points on McCabe. That's winner chicken dinner as far as I'm concerned. We haven't got that much of a qualm giving away future seconds. We did that for the Josh Weddle trade, so
that worked out.
Yeah, I would love to get Liam Henry. Now Brocky has requested a trade. Well, Liam Henry is not a forward. There's a reason Freo pushed him to a wing. That's where he needs to stay. Save our cash for Bailey Smith. I'm not giving up pick 3 for Bailey Smith at all, which is what the Bulldogs are going to want and some more. 2 first-round picks is what they want, and one of them in the single digits. I think we call that, as far as I'm concerned, no.
Yeah. Look, there's about 4 players I'd consider trading pick 3 for. I'll give you a hint. They're all a lot taller than Bailey Smith.
Yeah. I think the only guy... Yeah, no, I don't actually reckon there is anyone, to be honest. Pick 3. My goodness. That's a content unit for another day. We might leave that one. Mackay's 5 centimetres on the Sava. There you go. Liam Henry did look good. He's had a good back end of the season and he's done well, Liam. He's got the old contract year-itis, Liam Henry. As the contracts run out, he's figured it out, which is nice. Paul, develop our own key back. Which one? Because Blanky's going to be there. That's no problem. Who's the second one? Because it can't be Sis. He just won an All-Australian by not playing centre halfback.
I still think it's Denver. And also, by the way, we used to have a player named Tim O'Brien who had a severe case of contract year-itis.
Yeah,
contract year Tim O'Brien was an elite forward.
He was. He was just an elite unit.
Every other year, Tim O'Brien, you may as well drag me out.
Yeah, that's fair. Brook, not going to happen. He's going to go to West Coast. And even so, we would need Brocky and something else. Liam Henry is what he is, but he didn't play VFL in the last half of the season. That will count for negotiations. Peter Bell, one of them. I think Peter Bell gets slid under the radar as a bit of a pain because Adrian Dodoro exists and breathes, and for some reason Essendon still think he's the answer and haven't won a final since he's been there. But, moving on, Peter Bell's a very vocal guy. We know we got the Lloyd Meek deal done. A lot of fans didn't like what we got back from that, so you'd think it would take Brocky and more, but I think he's going to West Coast, so there we go. Jacob likes him.
If we do the Brockman deal first, though, we get something back for that in all likelihood. Can that then be involved in the Henry deal, potentially, is another consideration?
West Coast send them, 19? We get Liam Henry and send West Coast Brocky and something.
I didn't say a 3-way trade. Like, they might send us, I don't know, a second-round pick or something, or a future second for argument's sake. And then we can potentially say, pick the future second you want. Like, And it's just another way of going about the deal, potentially, is, do the Henry deal after the Brockman deal, for argument's sake, and that way you have a bit more on the table. A few more options.
All right, from Liam Henry, excuse me, we go to Liam Ryan, who was kind of the it and bit guy that was being spoken about in Hawk terms in the last 5 weeks that seems to be cooling off a little bit. And the reason why I like that, mate, is the lesser players talked about in the media, I think, is a direct correlation to what the Hawks could get. If Liam Ryan becomes cheaper and cheaper, why not?
Yeah, I wouldn't be giving up high-end pick value for him. But, yeah.
Pick 40.
Yeah.
Like that range, I'm not saying that that's the pick we've got, but we're talking range here, yeah.
If you can get him cheap, have a bit of fun. It'd be fun to watch, I'll give you that much. But
yeah,
if you can get him fairly cheap, he'd be worth a flyer on, but I wouldn't be... I'd rather see us try and develop our own young small forwards than bring in someone who's a bit older and we're not sure how long they've got and whether they're going to be there when we want to contend.
Yeah, well, we could say the same thing about Chad. Look how good his month was there when he was fit. If you're not giving up a lot, I don't really think it's a big deal. Paul, I wholeheartedly disagree. I think we desperately need some X factor in that forward line. No Bailey Smith, interesting. A couple of years ago, Smith was dynamite. Yep. And then Luke Beveridge reckons he's smarter than everyone else and put a guy who kicked 7 goals in 2 finals out of the centre bounce. So, golf clap for Bevo. He's going beautifully. I'd give up pick 3 for Bailey Smith because it won't be pick 3. Well, when we say pick 3, we do really mean third pick of the guys that are available on the draft board. We know it's going to become pick 4, fourth pick in the draft, I should say, the open draft, once North Melbourne get the Ben Mackay compensation. But, yeah, I don't know. I think if we're giving up that first pick for a midfield kind of guy, we can't trade our future first next year, so that causes a bit of a problem. I don't know. This isn't the year to go after Bailey Smith. Do it next year in 2024, and you might be able to trade your 2025 first-round pick, which is when we might be good, and we can go from there. And if that made sense to anyone, I'm very proud of you.
Yeah, we can trade technically both future firsts. We did take 2 first-round picks last year, so we've taken 2 in the rolling 4-year period. Because Weddle was in the first round as well. So
yes, he was too. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, yep. I'm with you.
We can trade first round picks. Whether we should is another issue. Spoiler, we shouldn't unless it's for someone named Ben King.
Yes, correct. I'm with you. Yeah, yep. Ben King will do. Oscar Allen also, I'll take. If Nick Larkey didn't sign for the actual Arden Street building itself, pretty much, we'd be all right. Now, we don't really like to appease the jokey sort of comments here, mate, but I'm making an exception. Jay, no. Simply put. I know you've put LOL on the end there, but we're calling it out. That's not good enough. Been rumours Denver doesn't want out. Yep, been reported that Denver's manager has said that he doesn't want to go anywhere, which is good. Hope he can get back to top form. That would be really, really nice. It's the 5th best player in the draft after everything. Yeah, but after everything, I mean, what does that matter? Jed Walter's not available to us in the open draft, so meh. Wayno, here's a good question. When it comes to Liam Henry, do we really need another winger? Well, the Hawks think we do.
I would tend to agree. Carl Amon's one, but what else is there then? Harry Morrison is a serviceable. I'd argue he's probably what I'd call a bridge player. I heard that somewhere else, that term, like someone who will do a job for you. Nice player to have on your list when you're contending. I think he could be in a really good team as a lower end player than what he is at the moment for us. But I just don't think. I don't think you can bank on him being a starting winger in a top 4 team. I think you can bank on him as a third winger or a really reliable depth option who will come in, get 20 disposals, use it at 75, 80%, doesn't miss when he's having a shot at goal. But I think we do need more support on the wing. Josh Ward has been very good on the wing. He might be starting to do like what I said about Connor McDonald as a half forward, kind of becoming too good at that to actually move into what we thought their role was. Connor McDonald now has probably cost himself midfield opportunities for the next 10 years by becoming too good as a half forward.
Yeah, by having 24 and kicking a snag or, what he seemingly is doing so much. I agree with you. And the reason why I think we need another small forward is we don't have any half forwards. We have blokes that stand on the attacking side of the centre square in Connor McDonald and Dylan Moore, but they ain't half forwards, mate. They want the pill, and we want them with the pill in hand because they do good things with it. So no shade there. I'd love to get Liam Ryan. Yep, he's got a strong relationship with Sammy. I'm totally on board the Liam Ryan train. A lot of love for Denver being that pick back. He's worth more than pick 40. He might be, but don't tell anyone. It's about what you pay and the value you get. Con, I agree with you. That's why we throw around these things. Getting Ryan would depend on who we're looking at drafting. No, if we're looking at Watson or Dersma. Shano, I agree with you. Well, last time someone trained with us at Box Hill was Tyler Sonzi, and I'm just calling out the entire group chat here, rightly or wrongly, but you all told me that he was going to go with our first pick, and I said we weren't picking him at all, and boy, did you come for me there. And let me tell you, Connor McDonald's a pretty good player. I'm firmly in the camp right now that Zane Dersma's our guy as that half-forward type. Liam Henry would be really good insurance because I don't care at what pick you take, blokes. The earlier you take guys, sometimes the harder it is for them to become elite players. And this is why, Liam, I've got a really big problem with Sam Walsh sometimes because he came onto the scene, Nick Dacos as well, dominated from game one, and everyone expects their recruits to be like that, and that's simply not the case.
Yeah, don't let me into that. I only got put into that group chat last week, so don't let me into that group chat conversation.
No, the group chat on here, the live stream.
Oh, right.
Chat. Yeah.
But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Liam Ryan can also play midfield. Can he? Don't think so. I don't think his body's going to let him. Would never give up our first pick for Smith next season. Yeah. Oh, next season about Mackay. I'm with you. Paul, Dylan Moore is there. Dylan Moore's not a small forward. He's IR forward that kicks goals. And no one loves Dylan more than me. And Liam, we are going to get the gloves out next time you're in Melbourne, I'm telling you. You're not claiming we know Smithy and I think it's Dami who is in the group chat quite a bit, are fighting over Carl Amon. I mean, sometimes you just got to nut these things out. And Dills is mine, and he's a good man. Glenn, great question. Are we looking at Gold Coast's pick 4? I don't think we can provide Gold Coast with what a Adelaide, with what a potentially North Melbourne, with what a potentially, these things. We don't have... The only reason Gold Coast are trading this pick is because it'll get absorbed in the Jed Walter bid. Now, simply put, what that means is Gold Coast, if they can get rid of pick 4 for draft points that are worth more than what pick 4 is worth, which sounds very complicated, then that is a win because they're not going to use that pick 4 anyway. And unfortunately, we don't have the points to back that up. And I don't think we're going to give up future assets because they don't make up draft points. So to answer your question, Glenn, very simply, no, outside of our control, I think. But my hope is that we do a Josh Weddle-style trade with some next year's assets and hopefully pick up Archer Reed. Should be perfect.
Say like we also need draft points as well. So with McKay.
Yeah, we do, but that'll come from later stuff, mate. We're not getting a pick in the 20s for draft points. That'll be your pick 40s and stuff like that. So Morrison, a depth guy, I agree.
Can I bring a comment? Another from Steph, actually, his most recent comment. I won't discuss the first half of it because we already talked about it a lot. The second half, yes, please.
Yeah, I'm scrolling down. The people are inundating me. So
Elijah Holland's comment.
Oh yes, yeah, all day, every day. Yes, please.
Like, Elijah, I'll come up there. I'll bundle you on the flight. Let's go.
Yeah, I'll drive. That's fine. I don't really think welcoming him to Waverley and a Commodore is really going to be the kind of welcome that the great man deserves. But I'm very nice to talk to. Geez, here's a call. The Doveton Flyer is the new Chad. Interesting. I like it. Who would you guys have with the pick 3? I think Dersma is the guy. I keep flip-flopping between him and Nick Watson, but given what we seemingly want in this offseason, I think we're going to take the size. And at 189 centimetres, I think Zane Dersma is the go centre forward X-Factor. Gun. Absolute gun. CJ on the wing is getting some love. I still think CJ is a forward 50 player, but... Goodness. Cozzy is getting bigger, better, and a lot bigger. I'm hearing, mate, and by hearing, I mean not from a bloke at the pub. I'm hearing from people in the know that an inquiry might have come from a team in the yellow and black about one Jacob Kaczynski, which is interesting because I know we can not talk about Cozzy in the most flattering of terms as Hawthorn fans. But we better have a backup plan if that's the go.
Yeah. we go on and on about needing a key forward. Whatever you think of Gitsy, there's a key forward who you can never question his will, you can never question his effort.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I want Dersma too, but we'll never draft him. We'll pick him a Kircher. That'd be such a Hawthorn thing to do. Actually, technically, no. That would be a North Melbourne thing to do, who ignored Logan McDonald and all these guys and kept picking midfielders. Their depth chart, to use, yes, an American sports term, sorry about that. The amount of midfielders that they've drafted and just don't play or play out of position is extraordinary, and then they sit there and want more draft concessions when they can't get it right in the first place. But I don't know how I made that into North slander, but I'm here for it.
I point out, as some not legal advice, slander has to be untrue.
Okay, well, some North rants. Let's go. Can we ever get Noah Anderson? Well, Chris, if it makes you feel worse, because it makes me feel worse on the inside, we should have got him, but in the draft year with Matt Rowell, the AFL reportedly had a meeting about dropping the 100-game threshold to 50, which would have got us Noah, but because Gold Coast were in the dirt and got the priority pick, they had to send the best mates up to Gold Coast together. Yeah. So, and I'm not still mad about that, but I still think about it. Yes, Liam, go for it.
The counterfactual no one considers, that's the Will Day draft as well. We get Noah Anderson, we don't get Will Day.
No, I think we trade back into the draft and pick up Wilbur. That's what I'm going with. We could be greedy around here, mate. They're called hypotheticals for a reason. My goodness. Jacob, I agree with you with the first two. Nate Caddy for mine is, I think, just too far back. I think he would need to be a significant rise in his draft stock. I think he's perfect for Adelaide at that pick. Round about there, but there'll be more on that on the Daz Talks Footy channel. Let me tell you, if you haven't subscribed, go do that after the live stream, guys. And make sure you subscribe to Talking Hawks as well. We're dual channel subscribers around here. Let me tell you. All right, this is so many comments to get through, and we don't have a whole lot more time because we've got two other things to talk about as well. North Melbourne have spoken to Cozzy, apparently. Okay, and I don't say that to spite the person that wrote the comment, but I hadn't heard it beforehand, so that's why I go with that. Cozzy just needs to learn how to kick straight, Peter. I've been on this for 18 months, mate. He does the old Jared Roughhead lean back, and it's extraordinary. Tom, I'd love to know what bit, but let's just agree it's all of it. Why not? This has just been 37 minutes of gold that's being brought to the table, which is awesome. All right, I'm going to find a couple more, and then we're going to move on, mate, to Box Hill because they need to be talked about as well. Day is a much better player than Noah Anderson. Much better? Okay, interesting. Preferably Dersma, but we won't get either. That's interesting, Steph. Why wouldn't we get either? You've piqued my interest here. Well, surely we have to get one. Reed, Walter, and Curtin, and one of them you'd think would be gone in the top four. And I don't think we're dropping back any further than 5 with the Jed Walter and Ben Mackay compensation. So I'm curious. No to Asava. Nick Watson would be perfect because of Punky. Yep, I like it. A lot of no Asava. Riley, to answer your question, not yet. Not yet. And here we go. Young, is it Kolsha?
Yeah,
I think it's pronounced Kolsha. Yeah. Kolsha Deer. I don't think he's going to be bid on until past the second round, Julie. So I don't think we're going to have to make up a whole lot of draft points there. Late bloomer would be really nice. He had a ridiculously good game for Bo Morris during a bye round for the under-18s where he had about 30 and kicked 11 or something crazy like that. It's extraordinary, but could be a late bloomer, could be something to look at. Absolutely, he could be. And fingers crossed, he is a Hawk. And then McGuinness, another one who looks like he could be more of the rookie draft kind of time. And Solar here, we're going to end this little topic. Don't go anywhere. But this little topic with this question. Liam, of the guys that we've sort of spoken about tonight, if you could only pick one, who do you want?
Who do I
want? On the deal that's rumoured. So that also takes into account. But who are these blokes do you want?
Mackay. Give me Mackay and Blank as a key defensive pairing with Sicily and Scrimshaw as interceptors.
I'm with you. Mackay as well. All right, let's move on to Box Hill.
Draft capital, 0.
Yeah, so that also helps. But let's move on to Box Hill. They've got Werribee this weekend at Avalon Airport Oval. I got very confused with the AFL graphic because it came up with Box Hill City Oval, but it had flipped. It was a whole drama for me. Anyway, we're at Avalon Airport Oval, 2:05 p.m. It's just before the AFLW game. This is a qualifying final. Werribee finished second on the ladder, the Hawks third. Now, there are 2 games differentiating these 2 sides, as I've written here. But the other thing that kind of scares me about this game, Liam, is there is a 37.2% differential between these 2 sides. Werribee have really paid out on some teams.
Yeah, look, we have to remember with the VFL men's, the same as the AFLW, you don't play everybody. So there's probably some fixture discrepancies there. I haven't taken the time to go in depth on Werribee's fixture because I have other things to do with my time than study VFL club's fixture, believe it or not. But yeah, but they've been a good team. And look, they've got a lot of continuity because they are a standalone club. So whilst what they lack in perhaps some of the best talent and some of the best conditioning and all that, they make up for with, the way they have that continuity every week, the fact that they don't have players ripped out for Hawthorn duty. I think that'll benefit Box Hill. Now Hawthorn are no longer playing, although equally it means they've lost some players who they've had previously. They've now lost Cam McKenzie, Finn McGuinness, Harry Morrison have all been in and around. They've all just missed the cutoff. So, whether even... So I think I saw there are 17. Timmy did the research for us. I think there are 17 Hawthorn listed players from the men's comp who are eligible to play for Box Hill. I'm not sure they all will, because I think a couple are injured. I'm not sure you play Ramsden, Tucker, and Ryan. I'm not sure you play all 3 of them, especially with Cozzy and Denver as well. I don't think you play all of that. It's a lot of tall timber. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, I think. I don't know how much of it I'll get to watch because I'm obviously getting ready to go to the AFLW.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But yeah, it's going to be a struggle. But the way that Zane Littlejohn's spoken and the fact that the Hawks have really relished being underdogs in a couple of moments this year, hey, who knows? We'll be keeping an eye out, of course, and we'll bring you all the news, live scores after the game's finished. And we'll be having plenty of chats about that, mate. But on Saturday as well, we've got a date in Frankston, which are words that no woman likes to hear, but AFL fans do. We're heading down to Kinetic Stadium, formerly Skybus Stadium. It's a beautiful ground. Yeah. It really is. And yes, I am the Frankston local, but I'm biased. But I've called footy games there for a different league, and it's an extraordinarily good ground. And hopefully, mate, we can turn it into somewhat of a fortress. We've got the old enemy, the red and black lot, as you like to call them. A new season starts, and it's going to be an extraordinary time. Fingers crossed.
Oh, I can't wait. A lot of you will know Timmy and I, we do the Soaring to New Heights podcast together, which discusses all things Hawthorn AFLW with a degree of bias some may call sickening, but I call perfectly reasonable. But no, I'm really keen for the AFLW. We've recruited well. Emily Bates for one. We got 4 club debutants: Emily Bates, Christy Stratton, Matea Breed, and Greta Bodie. So it's going to be a really exciting game, I think. We played them in round 1 last year, and they beat us at Marvel. Incredible night. One of the best nights. One of the best football events I've been to. I've been to 5 grand finals, multiple prelims, and that was seriously up there for me. Like being there, the first night that it really was the night the Hawthorn Football Club came complete, and just seeing that. And at the end of the day, they got over us. They recruited really well last year. We've recruited pretty well this year. At the end of the day, last year, the difference between the 2 teams was Maddie Prasparkas, who is a league best and fairest winner, and still only 22, I think, somehow. Ridiculous. But we've now brought in our own heavy artillery, Emily Bates, v. Maddie Prasparkas. I'll be at Frankston coming down from Canberra for the game. That is a matchup that is almost worth the price of admission on its own.
Yeah, I'll be down there as well, coming from just as far as Cranbourne, Frankston North. We've got pretty much the same amount of ferals to get through, mate. So it's more difficult than it sounds. But it's going to be fantastic. Fingers crossed.
On an overnight bus getting down there.
Yeah, and I've still got to deal with more, so that's fine. It's not a competition, but I win. But it's going to be a fantastic time down there at Kinetic Stadium. Fingers crossed a lot of Hawks fans can get down and support the girls. It's going to be fantastic. Jasmine Fleming, we're looking forward to seeing in a big, big way, of course. Talking Hawks have been a sponsor of hers last season and this season, and we're looking forward to getting into the AFLW. And, of course, we'll be covering it here on Talking Hawks throughout the season. Cannot wait. Let's finish this off, mate, kind of where we began the 2023 season. If you could sum it up in a couple of sentences, how have you felt about this year, mate? How are you feeling about 2024? And we'll go from there.
Quickly to answer Steph's question, yes, Sophie Locke has been named.
Absolutely, she is. Yeah, she's locked in. You could say what someone would say. I wouldn't, but I think some people might. Yeah,
she kicked our historic first goal last year. Quite an incredible moment. Only 2 weeks after she lost her mum. 2023 men's season in a couple of sentences. Encouraging, but work to do. In a sentence.
Yeah, no, I had something extremely similar. I'm very happy. I'm happy with what we did, but I'm more excited for next year. Frustratingly positive, Riley. That's the winner so far. That's one to beat. Steph, love your optimism. I think that's about the Sophie Locke follow-up, and that's all right. Julie, Beck Goddard, she's going to be all over this. We're looking forward to it in a big, big way. We know the women's footy is not exactly... Yeah, we know the women's footy is not for everyone, and that's fine, but getting around the Hawks, we just need to beat Essendon in everything. I'd beat them in table tennis if we could. Somewhat encouraging. I think we're not really going to know how good this season was, mate, and this is going to sound crazy, until about round 6, 2024. Because if we're on the right track, we're going to look at this season pretty well. And I think if we don't start that great, a lot of fans are going to look at this year and think, was this just better than it could have been? We know some fans think that the draft pick selection is more important than potentially it is. North Melbourne proved on the weekend it doesn't really matter. But, unfortunately, mate, having an elite pick 1 history that we do have with Hodgie, we might be a little bit biased on that end, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun season. And but I really can't wait for the W, to be honest. Like, footy's not done yet, folks.
No, footy is not done yet. Emily Bates as well, Dummy, I'm with you. We were there for the Western Bulldogs practice game, mate, and we can confirm Emily Bates, good at football. Yeah, she knows what she's doing.
I think she's a jet. I was running the Soaring to New Heights socials that day, and who were our standouts in the second quarter? Bates, someone else. Bates, someone else. Bates, that's pretty much what it was. Because she had her own football that quarter.
Yep, she really did. Fred, I mean, it's not exactly the enthusiasm we were looking for, but that's all right. That happens. All right, Hawks fans, we're going to get out of here. We've covered a lot tonight. It's been a privilege to bring this to you. We're looking forward to more content coming on all of your platforms, that, of course, being social media, podcasting, and YouTube. And not to tease this out a little bit, Liam, but you're going to know this. What do you reckon Cam McKenzie, Josh Weddle, Henry Hustwaite, Bailey McDonald, and Lloyd Meek, what do you reckon all of those lads have got in common?
They all came to the club last off-season?
They all made their debut in 2023. And between you and I, mate, the Talking Hawks crew might not be through with debutantes in 2023. That's all I'm going to say. We're looking forward to what we can bring you into the off-season. Good on you, Brooke. Thank you for joining us after losing 1,000 games of experience. I didn't expect much, but I'm happy. Peter, totally with you. Hawks fans, take it easy. We will see you very, very soon. Thank you so much for your support on Talking Hawks throughout the home and away season. There is going to be plenty more to come. We can't wait to bring you all of it. Good luck to the girls. Congratulations to the wheelchair team as well. They had a magnificent season, capped off with some success. So fingers crossed the Hawthorn girls can go well. Let's beat the Bombers, and we will see you next time. And as always, here at Talking Hawks, go the Hawks.